tip.
Good afternoon. It is July 17th, 2019. You're listening to A Little Column A and Little Column B, hosted by Will Lenos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? 50 days till football starts, but in the meantime, I've got an event for you. Just happened this past week. Probably one of the weirdest combinations that I've ever heard of for an event. It was the first ever heavy metal knitting championship. Did you hear that correctly? Heavy metal knitting championship.
Are these done at the same time, or are these just two options at this event?
Oh no, this is happening at the same time.
So you're listening to heavy metal while knitting.
That is correct.
I'm intrigued. How do you get passes for this?
This took place in Finland, which is arguably the heavy metal capital of the world. There are 50 heavy metal bands per every 100,000 Finnish citizens. So that seems like a lot. The way that you get into this competition is knitters were asked to download the song Fight or Die by a thrash metal band, Maniac Abductor, then upload a 1-minute video clip of themselves knitting along with the music. So relatively simple to do. I don't know how to knit. I've listened to heavy metal before. I just can't imagine there's a ton of crossover in those two groups.
Do you think this is like a fidget spinner kind of thing? Like it just feels good to be doing something with your hands, and as well as maybe some of this music, it's supposed to balance out, I guess, some of the anxiety or the energy of it. But the thing I don't get is I thought that was kind of the point of the like aggressive, heavy, hard metal kind of sound of any of that is to essentially just rage out and have all this energy. It seems very counterintuitive to do that with such a hobby that's generally, I assume, relaxing and calming, and for majority of people would describe as boring.
Two different ends of the spectrum. Seems pretty dangerous. You have knitting needles, which are sharp, and you're mostly headbanging. There's more, like, this wasn't just one person. There's kind of like each one was a group of people. And yeah, it just seems real risky. Seems like there could be injuries. Sounds like there was no injuries.
Yeah.
Seems like it went relatively successful. I'm not sure if this is going to be a annual event. I think that's what they're hoping, but looked like everyone had fun. There are videos online. Definitely worth checking out the videos. It is a very unique event.
Well, I'll make sure to post the videos on the website. I can't say I'd ever attend it. Is there any chance you'd ever go?
Finland's pretty far away. I don't think that's worth it.
All right, say it's.
I don't think I'm not into knitting or into heavy metal enough.
Hey, how do you think the security works? Are needles like totally cool? You just are knitting needles dangerous? Is any knitting equipment dangerous?
I think knitting needles are dangerous, but I think they're crucial to the act. So I think performers, yes. Audience, no. I don't know. A lot of unanswered questions here.
Am I the only one that's just imagining a knitting class just listening to heavy metal, but instead of like a speaker playing it, it's just a live band playing it?
That's how this thing worked, man. They got the band going in the background, and
what do you think
got the knitters up front, and they got a whole choreographed situation going on. I don't know exactly what they're knitting. I can't exactly tell. I think it might be crap. I think it might not be an actual thing.
I can't imagine the article mentioned this, but what do you think the average age was for this? Is this an older thing or a younger thing? Like, is this a millennial thing, or is this something that's
I think it's a younger thing.
Yeah. All right. I have no idea. I'm really just fascinated by it. It's bizarrely strange, but I'll make sure to post the video on the website. Make sure you go check out our website, lcalcb.com. There you can get a little bit of bio about Zach and I, as well as some of the old podcasts. We do record live every Wednesday at 3 on the website, so go check it out, lcalcb.com, as well as follow Zach on his Twitter, which is
WickedZman24.
Yeah, and check out Sold by Will for all your San Diego real estate needs. But yeah, we got a good show planned. All right, we actually have some stuff planned, which is kind of exciting in such a boring summer. You want to get the NBA news out of the way while we can do this? This is a little bit of dated news, but Russell Westbrook has now been traded for Chris Paul and will suit up, hopefully, with James Harden this year as a Houston Rocket. So many things happening so fast right now. Almost every duo is changed over from last year to this year. Is this What shocked you the most about this? The fact that OKC accepted this trade, the fact that Russ wants to play with Harden. What's the
I
most
was
surprising thing here?
I was surprised how quickly that it happened. Once Paul George was traded, it sounded like Russell Westbrook was having conversations with management that he wanted out, and that made sense. Thought it would happen before the start of the season, but didn't think it would happen within a week. Was definitely a shocker than it was for Chris Paul. I don't think that you see uh, all stars on both sides getting traded that often. It definitely one of those you called me and then I tried to call you back. Just one of those. Oh, I got to talk to somebody like right now about this. Where some of the other trades are like, oh wow, yeah, that's crazy. This one was let's talk about this right away. So we already kind of did this first time around. I really interested to see how Russell Westbrook and Harden are going to work. The first thing off the bat that other people says like, well, they played together before. It's like, well, that was a long time ago. That was when Harden was a sixth man. Now they're both very established all stars, MVPs, and both very crucial to having the ball in their hands. And both seem like set in their ways. And I don't think they're past the point of, hey, maybe the big three in Boston of, okay, we're past our primes a little bit. I'm willing to take a reduced role. I'm not sure if either of them are quite ready for that. I think they're still kind of at peak performance right now.
So do you think this is going to work? Like, is Mike D'Antoni's offense going to actually thrive with this?
I think Mike is one of the coaches that could figure this out. I can't remember if you said this on the pod last week or if this was in between, that all these duos, like one of them is going to work amazingly. One of them is going to just fail spectacularly. And then the other ones are kind of be in the middle. And I think that's how I go with it, of just this one I could see going either way, of just, this works. Somehow they're getting everybody involved. There's not a ton of defense being played, but yeah, they just got the spacing worked out and they offset the minutes or however that works. And, or in 2 weeks already, it's chippiness and they're fighting on the bench and it's just an absolute mess.
I actually, this is going to shock everybody, and it's even shocked me. All right, it took me a week to kind of digest this, but I actually think this is going to work. I think it's scary how good this is going to work. I think this is the best shooters that Westbrook's ever played with, and if he can finally kind of click, which it's not going to be his team, so I think he's finally going to have to kind of be coachable. Versus like in the past, it was like, no, I'm Russell Westbrook. This is my team. It's always kind of been that kind of attitude. I think that's going to change, as well as I think he's got the right guys around him. I mean, think of who you would want to run the D'Antoni office. A guy that goes to one end to the other end faster than anybody else. It's certainly reckless a lot of the time, but that's what they want. That's the D'Antoni offense 101 right there. And I suppose having Harden play off of him will only be a strength, as well as having Harden close everything out when things slow down. I think Harden is significantly better in the half court. I think that's where the combination is going to be great. You can kind of have Westbrook do the heavy lifting and Harden do kind of more of the finesse, closing out half court situations. I don't know if one person, if there's ever actually going to sync perfectly together, but I think having two guys on your team that can do that is going to make for a really good team. I'm amazed to even admit to this. I didn't think it was going to work day one. It's kind of grown on me. It's like, wow, this could work.
Oh, I would say Westbrook's definitely better than Chris Paul overall at this point in both of their careers. Westbrook, there's still not many guys that can stay in front of him when he decides to go to the hoop. And like you said, he's never had incredible shooters beyond Durant and a couple of other guys. Roberson is only doing so much out there, unfortunately. So yeah, surrounding him with some shooters that are actual shooters, something could happen. Like I said, it could go awesome and it could also fail spectacularly. I'm really interested to see what happens, and really am a fan of some less super duper teams and just more. I don't even know what we call them. Like, are they super teams or are they just? It's like all these dynamic duos, and it's just there's just more of them, and just I think it's going to be more exciting night to night of just the matchups. Like, whatever ESPN's putting on for their Wednesday night versus what TNT's putting on for their Thursday night. I think it's going to make it more must watch rather than it's like every couple of weeks there's one really mega matchup where you have Warriors Rockets last year. It'll be like, ooh, look, Lakers are playing the Clippers tonight, and you have one of the the Portland versus the
Dallas.
Rockets on Thursday night or something.
I think this is the most parity we've had in the NBA in a really long time. The Warriors dynasty kind of ruined that. Leading up a little bit to that, Miami was very dominant, and then before that, you have kind of that Spurs era if you go far enough back, and then I guess a Laker era in there maybe once or twice. But forget about those parts. But this feels like there's a lot of parity in there. I wouldn't say there's an elite front runner right now, and I think there's a lot of teams that still need to figure things out. I'm ecstatic for the season. I also think this changes up the MVP race drastically. I'd say in most cases you can't win MVP if you play with a guy of the caliber of James Harden or Westbrook. So they've almost kind of eliminated each other, which I feel like they were almost easy options for MVP favorites.
We talked about it the last podcast, and the next day all that information was almost obsolete.
So now looking at it, I think Giannis is definitely the front runner. And I made some quiet whispers about Kemba Walker being able to make a push for it. But you know who I've kind of been sleeping on, and I think a lot of people have? I think Denver with Jokic, I'd almost kind of want to give him the favor. If they have a solid year and they rise above, they're like really the only team coming back full strength this year. Am I crazy for thinking that? Should Jokic be the favorite right now for front runner MVP?
Not over Giannis. Possibly over those other guys, like you said. It's kind of his team. He's far and away. I think that some of it. I think I mentioned on the last pod. Part of it is just the narrative and being on TV. And if you're on the West Coast and you're playing those late games, you're not quite. Even if you're on TV, not as many eyeballs are seeing you. We're getting better at that with, NBA Twitter and just more people being focused on it. But I think sometimes you're on that West Coast, and if you're not the premier Clippers, Lakers, hey, you're for sure going to be on TV no matter how good of a team you are. You kind of fall by the wayside.
I can't wait for everything going forward. But, speaking of Twitter right now, let's transition into some Area 51, this crowd storming. Was it somebody organized some event on Facebook and then just shared it wildly all over the public? And this somehow gained some traction? And then did anyone actually show up for this? I really haven't been following the story quite as in depth. This is actually pretty new to me after you sent me the topic that this is going on.
As of right now, or this is as of this morning, over 1.5 million people have said they're attending the event. The event's official name is Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us. The event is scheduled for September 20th at 3 a.m. Pacific time, as well as another 1 million people have indicated that they are interested in the event.
I mean, are you going? Are you interested in the event, or do you think this is a trap to get on like that wrong list with the government?
Absolutely not. Am I not going to this? This seems like a terrible idea. If there's one thing, like one group that really doesn't mess around, it's the U.S. Armed Forces. This is an Air Force facility. As someone I kind of work in the defense contracting area, it's not really a joking around kind of place. Let alone something at this high level of an area. Let me read what the Air Force spokesperson said, because this has gained enough traction that they legitimately, the Air Force had to make a statement.
That seems
it said,
crazy.
The Nevada Test and Training Range is an area where the Air Force tests and trains combat aircraft. Combat aircraft. I don't care if every single person showed up that said they were going to show up. They have combat aircraft. It's probably plural. Like a bunch of stuff. And the whole, they can't stop all of us. Ooh, I'm pretty sure they could. I sure hope this doesn't come to violence like that, because this sounds like it could be like a really bad situation.
I don't think that should be something you encourage not only other people to do, but potentially other countries of like, don't worry, there's enough of you.
Yeah,
and can't do anything.
It follows up as a matter of practice, we do not discuss specific security measures, but any attempt to illegally access military installations or military training areas is dangerous. Now, I think that a big bunch of these people are just, it's just a viral sensation, and it's just funny, and it's just the conspiracy with Area 51 and the aliens, and just it's an event and it's on Facebook, and you say, yes, I'm going. The same way a bunch of people, you say, hey, yep, I'm going to that party, and I'm not going to that party. I'm not going to Area 51. Nope, that's an easy. I know I'm not doing that, but it's fun to be a part of it, and it's jokey, and there's memes, and I think it's just more of a cultural phenomena than literally people expecting to make a trip.
So is the primary interest of all this actual like alien activity or some UFO or some sort of bizarre like government secret? Is that really the attraction of everyone that wants to go? Like what are we so fascinated that we have to know about this?
I think it's a little bit part of it, and if there's actually aliens there and discovering or alien technology, but I think the other part of it is it sounds like a big party, and parties are fun, so you don't want to miss out on being part of the party.
You want to move Coachella there? Coachella Area 51?
I've been seeing some jokes about that like it's gonna be food, like 4 food trucks and 100 people are gonna go, and they're gonna hang out outside, not really do anything, then go away, and then the next year there's gonna be music, and it's gonna turn into like a Hitchhiker's Guide to Music or something. It's gonna turn into a festival.
Do you think this has just been a government only secret special, like invite only? Like they've been having a music festival there for years now. It's the longest going festival of all time. And then that's the immediate privacy is like, no, we don't want anyone coming here. This is where all this private parties happen. Well, why are people like not intimidated by aliens? By the way, as if this is like a comfortable thing. Like, yes, I just want to go. No, I'm not really scared of putting myself in danger with the government that's probably gonna shoot me or whatever. But even if I make it across that, and there's enough of us, what are we gonna finally discover? Oh, I saw the alien. It seems totally safe. I'm not endangering myself in any way. I'll just turn around and go back home now. Like I'm satisfied. It's just it doesn't seem like a realistic option for anybody. I feel like everything about aliens or anything unknown like that, it's a dangerous thing. There's a reason it's probably being kept away from us. I mean, am I the only one who just doesn't have that fascination?
Well, they're not concerned about combat aircraft. I'm not sure that they're understanding what exactly that means. These are fighter jets, helicopters, all sorts of weaponry.
Are you more fearful of that or the unknown possibility of aliens?
What's that?
Are you more fearful of the combat than the potential unknown?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess
I know that combat aircraft are very real.
All right, that makes sense.
And if you are believing in this alien conspiracy and that we have alien technology, that means that would be the area that would be using that technology in these combat aircraft, so they're even more scary than regular ones.
Yeah, I think that's my argument right there. You just said it. That's exactly why I'm not going. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in going. Like I said, this sounds like a where to find all the crazy people. Like let's just flag all of these.
Just round them up in one go.
Yeah, does it not? I at this point you got to think the amount of data being collected on everybody. Like, this is how you do that.
So now take it a step further into maybe the ridiculousness. You say it's to round them up. Is it for the government to round them up, or the aliens putting this on, and for the aliens to round these people up?
I don't even. Now I'm actually scared because I didn't even think of that scenario, and
yeah,
I honestly kind of think it's the latter. At least it seems a little bit more likely. There's a lot more motive in that.
And is it to destroy these people that believe in aliens, or is it to, oh, you believe? Okay, cool. We're scooping you up and we're bringing you, I don't know, to the alien homeland. We'll show you our secret stuff.
Oh, I don't know if I can talk about this anymore. They're listening to us right now. Does it make you feel better that we have alien listeners for our podcast?
Kind of like Men in Black. You just can't tell.
Oh man,
they count just like regular people, right?
Yeah. Do you want to talk? Actually,
one alien download versus one human download, they count the same, right?
No, I have no prejudice towards any listener. Anybody who's willing to listen to us for an hour, I will applaud them.
You don't even need to listen; just download.
You know what? I have the applaud sound ready to go here. I will applaud all listeners. Thank you for listening. You know what? Actually, while we're on the topic of sound effects, you want to play the game? You ready for the new game? So last week we presented a new game here, and we'll have Zach kind of introduce all the rules and all that. But the new name of it is Zach Sets the Record Straight, and we got some music and everything here. So we're going to get started and play this game.
May I have your attention, please? Come on.
All right, Zach, break down the rules for us. How does this game exactly work?
All right, Will. So here's how it's gonna work. I have 3 record-setting performances that happened in the past week. 2 of them are true. 1 of them is false. You have to pick which one is false. All right.
All right, so 2 of these are true and 1 of these is false.
You got to pick the false one. That makes sense. Easy rules.
Sure, let's go with it.
All right. So the first one. This is A. Man sits on toilet for 23 hours straight. All right.
All right, option 1.
All right. Option this B. Option B. Pizza Festival creates 59-foot calzone.
59-foot calzone. All right.
59-foot calzone. And then option C is 7,046 packs of gum are used as dominoes.
So 2 of these are true and 1 of these is false. You know, the strange thing, my immediate thought was that how did you find an oven that could make a 56 that big of a calzone?
59.
59?
59 foot.
The toilet thing is the only one that actually seems like really believable. All of them I could easily see being true. I don't know what people are taking the time to do any of this. This is kind of like a trap right now. I don't want to feel naive about a certain subject. The Domino's one, it seems like something that someone's already done. So I'm going to say that one's true. And I will say... I'll say the toilet one's true, too. And I'll say the pizza one's not. Because I don't think there's an oven big enough to make something like that. Am I wrong for thinking that way?
Wrong.
Oh.
Man sits on toilet for 116 hours.
Wait, that's true then? Or that's false?
No, he did not sit on the toilet for 23 hours. He sat on the toilet for 116 hours.
Oh, boo. That's how I'm going to lose?
For the record.
Well played. Well played.
I figured I'd get you with the...
you know what? The worst part is that was my own goddamn idea. I was like, you need to come up with a fake one. He was like, well, I don't think I can come up with something. I said, well, it doesn't need to be... It doesn't need to be like that. Like, you don't need to make up a thing. You just need to change the number or the amount or something on it.
And I thought it was fair to go from... Because we said it wouldn't be fun if I changed it from, 116 to 115 and said, oh, yeah, you were wrong. I went from 5 days down to 1 day.
Jesus. Oh, God, man, that's a long time. What would you even... Well, actually, I suppose we all know what you were doing, but what were you doing additionally to that? I'd like to think you were multitasking while essentially living on the toilet.
Which also makes this one not true, is that it sounds like they're not exactly sure. They're pretty sure it's not the record. His goal was 165 hours, but he was getting tired. He wasn't getting enough sleep.
Do you need a special seat to kind of do this? Is this a normal seat?
No.
Or is there like some high-end seat that you need to, a little bit more support on?
It's not comfortable, but it wasn't a real toilet. It's just like in a bar, like out with people. So it's not like the plumbing's not hooked up and everything. He's got his shorts on and stuff. So, well, and then too, he got 5 minutes every hour to stand up and like actually use a bathroom. So I don't know. This one seemed like a real dumb one. Like both why do it and you didn't really sit on it for this long. You got a little break in between. Like,
all right.
I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't sit on it for the whole time. But do you think that would make it any easier knowing that you could get up every 5 minutes for an hour? Or every hour you can get up for 5 minutes? It doesn't make it any easier. You're still...
I think it makes it easier than having to stay sitting, but not make it easier for someone like me or you to be able to do it for 116 hours.
I actually think that's going to be the best part about this segment is talking about it after about, all right, do you think you could do that? And one time, I'm assuming it's going to be me who's like, I could do that. And then we're going to have to find out. That's going to end up being the bet consequence of whatever March Madness or other side bet we have. And I think that's where the segment here actually grows. But I just want everyone to remember the name of the segment right now. Zach sets the record straight. He gives me 3 Guinness World Records. 2 of them are true. 1 of them is false. And I have to guess. So we're going to try and do one of those segments. We try to do it every week. You want to do it every month? I don't know. We'll work on it. We're also going to work on the music and the sound effects thing. It's very hard to talk, pay attention to everything, and then play the sound stuff from the background for you. But we're working on it, and we'll get better on it. But the name is money. We're keeping the name. I don't know. I don't know about everything else. We might not keep me. We might not even keep Zach. But Zach sets the
I was
record
gonna say
straight.
the podcast might not make it, but the name's gonna
But the
stay.
name's gonna stay. Zach sets the record straight is the perfect game show name for all this. That was the other factor of preparing for all this. Game show music is weird. First of all, it's an immediate '80s kind of sounding thing. It just sounds very dated. And I didn't know whether to take something else from someone else's game show, and I didn't, we're not exactly playing their game, so I don't know if that would have made sense. I tried to find a game show that I just didn't recognize the music for. Maybe it just wasn't as popular. And then I went online and realized that I don't recognize any game show music at all. Like I just missed that era altogether. I'm the wrong person to be doing the research on this. Versus some of our listeners who may be a little bit older would have recognized half these songs immediately. Be like, oh, that's the match game, or that's this. I wasn't qualified for the song selection of this at all. So I went with more of a modern touch that we may or may not go with going forward. But not a bad first run.
Second run.
Well, I'm calling this the first one. We didn't have a name for the last one.
Gotcha. Okay. It's organically happening. It's fun. You guys, as the listeners, you're going through this process along with us at the same time. You're seeing how it's growing, how it's becoming bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I think we need waiting music and we need more time. I don't know how you stall. I need to think more out loud, but I'm too busy like hitting buttons over here to try and actually do it. Maybe it actually be fun if we had somebody call in, like we had this segment like almost pre-recorded. Just an idea. Anyways, we got a whole bunch of other topics to talk about here. We are going to do some Stranger Things breakdown. Actually, while we're on the topic of some old music, you want to just jump into that right now? Forewarn the spoilers.
Yeah, let's do it. And yes, very much spoiler warnings. We both watched through it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's only 8 episodes, so it's just like a day, and then come back and listen to the rest of this.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen Stranger Things season 3, I would probably recommend not listening to anything going forward. I will post in the description of the podcast of what time we do talk from it. So if you wanted to listen to maybe something after this, I will tell you what time to skip through. Just read the description of the podcast. It should be there on all your streaming platforms as well as the website, lcalcb.com. So let's get into it. Stranger Things Season 3. Let me ask you this, just going into it. Were you looking forward to this season?
Yes. I was looking forward to it. It definitely wasn't a drop everything. I'm going to watch this at midnight. I'm going to take time off of work to be able to watch it, and I'm going to watch it straight through. But was definitely excited. Started watching it. Came out that late Thursday night for us. So I think it's into Friday morning. I started watching it on Saturday and then finished it the following weekend. So it took me a little longer than I was expecting, but I was definitely looking forward to it.
I really wasn't. I'll be honest. I really wasn't looking forward to it. Didn't have a whole bunch of interest in watching it. You were the one. Your excitement for it made me was like, all right, well, if he's gonna watch it and I want to talk to him about him, then I'll go watch it. But I rewatched season 2 before I jumped back into season 3 because I really wasn't that impressed with season 2. And rewatching it, it was a little bit better the second time through. It's just. Let me ask you this: what do you think the story's actually about here? All right, what is the main plot of all Stranger Things, like the general plot of the whole movie, the whole show? If you don't have an idea off the top, I'll give you 2 suggestive options of the plot. Like, is it about monsters versus humans, or is it about high school friendships and relationships?
Oh, see, it's funny that you say it like that because I was gonna say Freaks and Geeks deals with monsters.
All right. Well, is it really about the monsters, or is it really about the relationships? Because one thing's really good and one thing's just kind of there.
I think it's funny that you mentioned that because I think there's different groups of people that like those to varying levels. Where there's a group of people that are just get rid of the monsters. These kids are cool. I like their interactions. I'd be fine with just that. And there's another group that says these are just stupid high school kids. I want the action. I want monsters, mortal peril. I don't care like what they're doing in homeroom. Just give me the scary parts.
I'm all for the Freaks and Geeks part of it, the high school relationship, friendships of growing and, kind of certainly this season of kids breaking out of their mold and kind of taking on a new chapter of their life. I think that part is fun. It's kind of exciting. I like how the families kind of interact. You have these kind of generational gaps between brother and sister siblings, between a couple of families now. They bring in the other younger sister of, I should have wrote down all the names. I should know all the names, but. Anyway,
Max.
I do like
Max
that.
is Billy's little sister.
Ah, they're bringing the other one, the little girl that walked through the vents.
Oh, Lucas's little sister.
Yeah, I don't know her name either. But yeah, they're that like that's cool that they keep kind of bringing that up because that's really what I remember that era of my life kind of being about. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. You have a sibling, and this is, you may not always interact with one another, but you generally would cross paths with them because you're just hanging out with that other person.
Yeah,
Uh,
I thought that was funny, especially with our dynamic of we both have younger sisters, where like they were separate for a while, and like came back later on, and Lucas is like sees Erica, his younger sister, is like, what are you doing here? Like, how are you even out and about? And she's only like a few years younger than he is at most, and but he just thinks of himself as like, oh, I'm way older than you, and like, what are you doing out of the house? And he's like, I've been saving the world, like just like you were doing 2 seasons ago. Like we're at the same age, and just because I'm like your younger sister doesn't mean I can do cool stuff too.
yeah, no, it's a fun and they do it really well. It for me it just seems very nostalgic, very accurate. I would say that's my favorite part about the show in general. I think the other thing I like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because there's not a whole lot of negative parts they show of that era, but the 80s just seemed like so much fun. I'm a huge fan of the music, the way everyone's dressed, and just kind of the movies that are coming out. Like all of those seem like pretty classic. It was a good breakthrough. A lot of the video game eras and things like that. I don't know. They just make that seem like so much fun. And Freaks and Geeks kind of did the same thing. It just seems like a fun era to grow up in. Maybe not with the upside down world and all that attached to it, but that's the other half of all of this. But I like that part of it. Do you enjoy the kind of 80s themed of everything?
I do enjoy the '80s theme. That's a little before my time, but definitely see some of the movies. It was a not I don't know if a main portion, but there was definitely more than one reference to Back to the Future, which definitely like that movie and at a couple of different points. It's just like, oh, okay, oh yeah, cool, yeah, I've seen that movie and some of the other 80s type things that jump out to me. But I like that you are saying like, oh yeah, they really make it like really cool time, to grow up, because I just remember uh, in the past few years after Stranger Things have come out, where South Park kind of spoofed it, and they did something where it's like we're riding on bikes and it's really cool, and like they're playing just terrible '80s music, and it's just funny how like depending on what kind of lens and what kind of angle you're viewing it at, it could be awesome or it could be terrible. So I do like the way they do it and just kind of create this like, oh cool, yeah, we're going to the arcade. Everybody's at the arcade. It's packed with people. This is gonna be a bunch of fun. Oh, we're going to the mall. Malls are very quickly dying. So that's not a thing that, maybe a generation ahead they're going to have even ever any idea of. So yeah, definitely cool stuff.
All right, so I'd say those are my two kind of favorite things about the show in general. Is I kind of like the interactions of it. I think season two, they kind of find what their strengths are, what kind of characters have good chemistry. It's not the greatest plot, and I don't think they really get enough depth into every like kind of relationship or interaction with each character. I kind of wish they wanted a little bit more. They kind of rushed a lot of stuff too. But season three, I think they get everything right. I think they split up the groups right. They play to their strengths. The chemistry between each character is way better. It does split up things a little bit more, but I don't think I want all 8, 10 characters all in the same scene. I kind of like the small scenes with the couples or with just a small group, and I thought that worked so much better in season three. I don't think they took quite as many chances, but I don't think they needed to. I think they just played to their strengths, and that made it a much better season. At least if you ask me, that's in my opinion. But what did you think? Did you like that kind of dynamic that it really wasn't the whole gang together at all?
Yeah, I didn't think that you could do the whole gang together, like you said. It's just too many people all at once. The only thing I didn't like is I kind of got like a feeling that it was like there wasn't enough cohesiveness between everyone, and it almost felt like it was more of real world uh, restraints more than maybe the show. And it was just like, okay, we can get these three characters, on these days, and we can get these four for these days, and this is like how we're gonna do it. And it just kind of felt almost like a little forced, and would have liked a little more interaction rather than it was just kind of like at the beginning a little bit together, then each group was kind of like with that group until maybe the last or second to last episode when it kind of all circled back around. But I think I would have liked a little more interaction. But I agree, play the hits. Steve and Dustin together.
Money.
It just works. It just works, and they figured that out season 2 and just stuck with it.
Just awesome. I like that duo. I thought the other group was just as strong too. I think the Max and 11 friendship that feels right, and the timing of that was good. I also underrated character. Damn, I really should have wrote down the names. I don't know all the names. The like news reporter who's like the undercover inspector. He speaks Russian. He's like the one journalist they go find. Hopper and the mom.
And they find Alexei, or they bring Alexei to him, and he's all
Yeah,
nervous about it.
yeah, that guy. That guy's great. I think that's an underrated character in the show. Is he's great in season 3. I like that he suddenly becomes buddies with this Russian guy he's kind of enemies with at the very beginning, and they kind of have this bond. He's got a lot of quick remarks too that I think are always very timely. Even if you go back to the other season, he's great in that too. He's very he kind of takes over a scene without even trying, or at least that I that's what I noticed. So, uh, other things that I noticed that I think are just impossible to ignore, or maybe it's just the generation I grew up in, but these things that just feel so much like the past, or like malls, like seeing a mall being just taken over, just like, oh yeah, they forgot those are things still. Like remember we used to hang out there, or like I don't know if that's not a thing really anymore. I think that's a kind of a thing of the past. So it was funny that was just a new thing
And to
of
be like a
development in the
main
show.
focus too. It wasn't a throwaway line. It was like a main, like that's where the villains had built the mall, so underneath they could have their lair and their laboratory, if you will. But yeah, I remember when like I was middle school, high school age. I don't remember like hanging out at the mall so much, but like if I went to the mall, it was like for sure I would see somebody I knew. That was just like a for sure thing was gonna happen.
Do you think that goes over maybe some younger generations' heads like that? Do you think they recognize that? Like when they watch this show, do you think they actually think that, oh, people used to do that, or is that just a movie thing?
No, I think they understand that it happens. I think it'd be the same way we watch a movie in the '50s and they go to like a like a soda fountain. What's it called? It's like I'm close, but it's like where you go and you just like it's like a bar, but you drink soda. And it's like, oh, that's where people would hang out. I think it's just a
Oh,
similar like that. Like I could believe that.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I suppose I can relate to that. It was such like a more of like a watering hole of like everybody kind of gathers here and meets here. Like you said, you don't necessarily need like a reservation or need to know like let someone else know. You could just go to the mall and chances are you'd run into somebody there pretty good,
Hmm.
especially small town our area, which I think relates to the story very well. Like does this not seem like a Berkshire County kind of area?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell like how big the town is because there's like 3 police officers. Uh, the fair was pretty big, but I think that it was a county fair, so it makes sense that'd be a little bigger. But they're kind of coy with like how big exactly is it? And I think the idea is like this is like a small town, like sleepy town. Nothing ever happens here. It's boring until this all hits, starting in season 1.
Do you have any other favorite parts or favorite characters or?
I liked Steve and Robin together. I thought that was funny. I thought she had some really good one-liners when he's trying to hit on girls, and he looks so goofy because he's wearing a Scoops Ahoy ice cream pirate sailor outfit, and he's got to wear the hat, and he's Steve the Hare Harrington, and he's just finally just midway through, he's like, you know what? Forget this. I'm taking the hat off. I'm using what works. And then she's got the whiteboard, and it's like rocks, and there's no tally marks, and then sucks with like 6 tally marks. And it was just very like pretty quickly. It just kind of had that like, ooh, this is a romantic comedy right here. Oh yeah, no, they have nothing in common. And then all of a sudden, Steve's hitting on like trying to hit on all these girls, and all of a sudden they're both gonna realize they were made for each other. And then
Oh,
it
that
went
caught me
along,
off
and I was
guard.
really hoping that like they wouldn't. Like I was like, don't fall into like that normal trap. Like we already got like these other couples. Like we don't need more. Like do something a little different. And then it kind of went where it got closer and closer and closer, and then it seemed like it was gonna happen, and then it was like, oh, curveball.
Oh, great
She's
curveball. Great
she's
curveball.
not. Yeah, she's not into guys. She's into girls, and it was just funny because she wasn't upset that he wasn't into her in high school. She was upset that he wasn't into like a girl that she was into that was into him. So it was just a love triangle that I it was definitely a curveball that I just thought was cool. That was not the normal. Oh yeah, no. Like I said, like the romantic comedy that they go right into each other's arms midway through, and there's the kiss. It's just like nope. This is a curveball. They're just gonna continue to be friends, or I don't know exactly what's gonna happen in season 4. But I just like that. That was a new dynamic. Her giving him a hard time about like how many kids do you know?
Hey, do you think it was a specific strategy to have Steve wear that outfit the entire series? And her as well. They
Oh, the
don't.
entire season.
Yeah, they don't wear anything else. Like here, you have the pretty boy guy of so far long ago, and they put him in this outfit the entire season. He doesn't take
The
it off
entire
once.
time.
Do you think that was strategically done? That they were like, no, we need
Who do
to,
you work for?
we need to.
Scoops Ahoy.
Yeah. Do you think they were like, we need to take this guy down so many notches, and this is how he's gonna kind of, I guess,
Yeah,
mature in some way?
yeah, I did like that because like in the first season, he is like the like big man on campus in high school, and now he's relegated to he has the scooper in like a holster, like ready to go, and he just has these terrible pickup lines for girls, and just none of them are even close to landing. And even Lucas's little sister Erica like is giving him a hard time. It's like some 10-year-old's even giving you a hard time, and just like, oh man, I have sunk so far.
Yeah, I was happier with this season. I have no idea where it really goes going forward from here. I don't know what to expect out of season 4. The one family does move away, and it looks like 11 is going to go with that because Hopper. All right, that's actually a discussion right there. Do you think Hopper's coming back? They don't ever show him. It's like they showed like a fried body on the side of the explosion there.
I think that he comes back. I like him as a character, and this is kind of one of those what I want to happen versus like what I think should happen. Of course, I'd like for him to come back because, like I said, I think he's a good character. But I think should happen is, he died to save everybody. That was kind of like a super heroic move. And then afterwards, it goes into the whole. He's got that letter that then Elle reads at the end. That I think is pretty powerful. And I think that if he comes back, it kind of cheapens that letter as like this was the last thing that he kind of said to her, unsaid.
I don't know if I want to watch the show without him. I really I enjoy his banter with everybody. It just feels like he's kind of been woken up a little bit from season 1. All this chaos around him, as well as he's kind of interacting with others a little bit more. He's not as antisocial. He's kind of finally just discovered a purpose, and then now it's all gone. I get the value and all that of the letter at the end. The letter at the end was great. It was also great that that's not what he did at all. He didn't do that heart to heart at all. He just yells at the kid.
No, yeah, he just doesn't get it together. Yeah, he was another one that was on my favorites list. Of this is getting towards the end of the season, and I think it's Mike is like, hey, here's what we're gonna do, and no, like you can't go by yourself. Like we're all gonna go. Like we're all going together, and like I feel like a lot of kids movies, like the kid kind of makes the play, and then the parents or the adults like, okay, yeah, and it's like going in that general direction. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. They're all gonna go and try to attack them all at once, and then Hopper just goes, no, nope, absolutely no, which just seems like what would happen way more often in the real life. Of I'm a grown man, you're a 10-year-old little shit. No, we're doing things my way. I'm not even gonna listen to you. And then it just like the scene ends, and it's just immediately like Hopper and Will's mom like off doing their thing, and the kids are somewhere else. I just really like that. Nope.
Oh, you know what? Actually, perfect transition there. Will's mom, is she slowly becoming the kind of the kiss of death here? Like, do you not want to stay?
Yeah.
Like, stay away from this one, right? every season, just taking down her borderline significant other. I'll say.
Yeah, maybe you want to stay away from her.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
that's two for
She's
two right now. That's
yeah, not and two both in two really unfortunate ways.
well,
Not
all right.
I
All,
guess I guess this year Hopper was it was pretty quick, but man, to get incinerated. Ugh, yeah, both of them not great.
well,
Not
after
great
after
deaths.
yeah, after season one where her son is taken over by some demon, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm probably staying away from her. Um, a couple of comments that I wrote down just rewatching the show because I knew we were going to talk about it. Do you think there's too much screaming in this show? I know it's kind
Too
of a
much
weird.
screaming?
Yeah, do you think there's too much screaming in this show?
I guess I didn't really realize that, so I guess I'd say no.
All right. Well, I noticed a little bit more because Eleven's powers. She's anytime she really needs to use them, like really use them, she screams, right? And then I feel like
Yep.
Winona Ryder's been crying since episode one. Still, like she just talks like she's screaming all the time.
Justifiably.
I no, yeah, no. And it's good acting too. I'm not against it. I'm just saying a lot of the actors and actresses here, their strengths are talking very loudly, and I just wonder if there's too much of that. I kind of saw a little too much of the formula.
Well, it's better. I would say that's better than poor Will, who it's just he gets like barely any screen time. Pretty much every time he gets some screen time, it's the back of his neck, and then him going, "I can feel it's close," and he looks scared, and like that's it. Like that's his only purpose. I feel like we haven't really learned much more about him.
Oh, all right. So I wrote down some strong characters and some weak characters, and I mean, I'm not saying we can live without Will, but he doesn't really, and it's not his fault either, man. Right? The guy just wants to play Dungeons and Dragons and hang out with his friends. I feel like his childhood was kind of taken away from him early,
Yeah.
and now that his things have kind of like normalized a little bit, everyone's grown up, and he can't do that anymore. I
Plus, like
sympathize with that.
like all of his buddies have girlfriends. Like just like all of a sudden he's like, whoa, well, like it's been one summer.
That's life, though. I thought that was realistic. That there's someone in every group was the Will. I think every
Interesting.
group of friends had that guy. But some of the I don't want to call them strong characters or toughest characters, but who would you say the heroes are of season three?
I'm trying to piece it out because there's a bunch of characters that all make some sort of sacrifice. Steve comes in with the car to hop in front of the car that Billy's driving, and then in the end, Billy turns around and he ends up helping. So he's kind of a little bit of a hero. Hopper saves everybody, sacrificing himself, possibly. Uh, I mean, all the kids they're all doing stuff. Dustin created that super nerdy radio, so he's working. Even his girlfriend helps out with the number that turns out to be super important. So I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one person. Do you have somebody in mind?
Man, you didn't mention 11 once, and you also
Well,
didn't.
that's
You
well,
did,
that's what I actually like about this season, and that's been different from the past season. Is she lost her powers? I feel like it was starting to get into the same kind of. It's almost like a Superman problem of, you are the most powerful person, and so just every time you save the day, and it just kind of okay. So why don't we just have Elle there every time to just win, like
yeah.
undefeated? It's like, oh no, now you don't have your powers. Okay, now some other things have to happen. You have to get a little more creative with the fireworks, which really worked out for Fourth of July time frame.
Uh, so I agree with all that. I thought that was a good choice. I thought that was let's not go down the same road that we've kind of gone down, too many times before here. But you didn't mention Jonathan once. I think he's the actual hero of the whole show. He gets no credit at all from anybody. Jonathan's always defending everybody constantly. All right, he fixes the car at the end there. He's fighting, chopping off,
Does he?
removing aliens from legs. Like I think Jonathan's the real hero. He somehow finds a way not to panic in the most drastic situation every single time, where everybody's freaked out and has no idea what to do. Suddenly, he's the guy that will go find the axe and cut something, or go heat up a knife and cut out something, or fix a car from the broken car inside on the display model. Like that's Jonathan.
I felt like him and Nancy, their whole kind of arc was just boring. Like it didn't really jump out at me. But I guess you're right. He's more like a utility guy.
I
Like
would
not
say he
flashy, not flashy, but got the job done for you.
probably the most helpful character. that will never get any credit, and maybe that's what he's supposed to do, and I would plays his role perfectly. But we got about 10 minutes left in the hour here. Anything else you wanted to talk about on Stranger Things season 3?
Just I think going forward, we kind of talked like I think that Hopper comes back. I think the season's gonna happen either at Thanksgiving or Christmas time, and that'll bring wherever, um, not Mike, wherever Will and Jonathan, wherever they move to with their family, with Elle, wherever they move, that'll give them a reason to come back into the area. And I'm thinking that this is a little more out on a limb, that a big part of the season is Elle going to be like trying to figure out, or some sort of rocky montage of her getting her powers back. And so I don't know exactly what she's going to have to do, but I think that's going to be a big part of season 4. I don't think it's going to come like first episode right away. They show her like grabbing something with the powers. It's going to like take a while, and really going to have to figure out through like some sort of adventure.
I don't know if they'll do this, but I hope they go back to the season 2 references of the other people that were similar to 11 that were also projects. Like she has like the one, I guess, sister you could call her. Was she 10? She has like another number tattooed on her.
I think it was 8, but
maybe it was 8. I don't know. Whatever. She's got the other number on her. I want to see those people come back, and I think her getting her powers back, or getting back to where she is or was or whatever, will have something to do with them.
It's by far the least liked episode, but I agree with that could be a way to kind of expand out this universe a little bit more. And I think it was just more of, hey, we're going along. Here's the story. I'm comfortable. And then it was just a like Black Swan episode of, okay, now there's just Elle with this whole other group of people out somewhere else. And if they had maybe integrated it a little bit more, I think it might have gone a little smoothly. But with it only being 8 episodes, there's not a lot of time for downtime. And kind of to the point earlier of like these, hey, what's going on with their high school lives? Like, there's not a ton of, hey, we're messing around in math class and this happened. There's just no time for it. It's 8 episodes.
If I had my choice, I wish season 2 only focused on that. Of that, I thought that story was way more interesting than anything they did in season 2.
Oh, I like them bringing in Billy and Max. I thought Billy is just a great villain, just a great '80s villain. Just this good-looking guy in high school, has got the nice car, and is just terrorizing people. I just thought that was fun.
All right. Well, I'm gonna mark us off right now as the 53rd minute right now. So if you just skipped forward right now, no more Stranger Things talk happening right now. So you want to skip all the spoilers? I'll make sure to have the description posted.
Spoiler free.
But we got a couple other small topics here. Do you want to talk about the flight simulator, or let's talk about that actually. The Tokyo Hotel is now offering a room with a flight simulator. What's the deal with that? And how do you get this room exactly?
Yeah, so Tokyo has this just a regular room, $250 or something, so a little bit more upscale, but it also has a full Boeing 737-800 flight simulator in the room. Any interest?
Yeah, I got a lot of interest. I think that sounds fantastic. I mean, forget your VR goggles or whatever else you got out here. Let's go do the real thing. I want to fly a plane. I don't know how to. It will probably be terrifying, but at least it's a simulator. I thought these were like I'm imagining this to be a pretty elaborate and expensive device.
Oh yeah, they spent $92,000 to install it.
Man, that seems low. I actually would have picked the over.
It's a simulator, so it's you're getting a screen. You got two cockpit chairs. Looks like a cockpit pretty much. I'm sure you're not getting all the best of the best in there because you don't really need it. But to follow up, okay, so room cost for a night specifically $234. 2 beds. Normal hotel room. But to use the flight simulator, it's an additional $277. Still in or you out?
How nice is the room? Because I honestly,
nice. I'm gonna say you know, it's a nicer hotel looking
All right,
from the one picture I could see.
depending on the location, as long as the location is a reasonable area that I would stay, and this is kind of the way you would
It's
travel.
in Tokyo,
Yeah,
so
if
you're
this is
in a major city.
yeah, you're in a major city, so I actually think that's very reasonably priced. I expected this to be significantly more money. I mean, simulators aren't cheap. I mean, imagine it's kind of like having a private ride at like Universal, like one of those simulators. But you get to interact with it, and you're there, and it's just you. There's no line. You don't have to get back in line. And those tickets cost you, about the same thing. I mean, how much? It was like a couple $100 to get into those.
All right, now to go a little farther down the line, give you a little more information.
It's a splurge, though. I'm not doing this every weekend. This is
no, yeah, I get that. You're not doing it much at all. You get a 90-minute flight simulator session with an expert.
Oh, that makes it even better.
So you don't. So you're more on board then.
Oh yeah, they're gonna train me and show me how to do it. Yeah, because I don't think it'd be much fun just messing around with it. Because I think every one of us would like to believe we would naturally be good at this, but like it would just be a video game. You could pick it up as you go, but I really don't think you would. I actually think you would need the expert there. I think if you really want to kind of enjoy it and get off the ground and not spend the whole time just, killing yourself or crashing, I think you would want the expert there. So you're kind of against the instruction. That's a turnoff for you. You don't want the trainer there.
I think in general, if this was out in the world, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, have a guy there show me, awesome. Just seems weird to have a stranger in my hotel room.
It seems just as strange to me to have a flight simulator in the room.
See, that seems more of a really fancy amenity. And you were kind of mentioned like a video game thing of, okay, have a little instruction manual or something, like just the basics, just, all right, yeah, let me figure this out. And then just like, I'm by myself. There's no stress. I'm at the hotel. I don't know why I'm not going out exploring Tokyo, but I decided to use this flight simulator. Okay. And I'll just mess around with it. I'll figure it out, and either it'll be fun and I'll continue to do it, or it won't be fun and I'll just be like, no, I'm good. I'm going to do something else. But I don't know. It just seems weird. You're sitting in your room, you're watching TV, and then the knock comes at the door and it's like, hey, I'm your flight simulator expert. Would you like to go for a ride? Yeah, sure, strange person. Come on into my hotel room. I don't know.
So is the actual just location of it? The location of it is really what's kind of turning you off about this. Then, if this was
just seems weird. I feel like you're in a hotel room. It's like,
all right, but
your place.
All right, it's a virtual reality thing. It's not like you can actually see where you are. Like for all you know, this could be in the middle of the lobby. This could be in the middle of the road. This could be in a car. This could be on a plane. This could be on a plane. You could be on a simulator on a plane.
Your beds are right behind you. That's where you're gonna sleep.
I think
the guy's gonna see you, or like you threw all your dirty clothes.
I mean, how long are you living in this place? Or I don't know about you, but
I don't know.
I'm not paying for that many nights. This is kind of a one night thing for me. All right, I'm spending the one night here, and then I'm doing the simulator, and then I'm staying at another hotel that costs like a quarter of that.
I don't know. You've been there a couple of days. There's some takeout boxes. It's not the cleanest. You're not proud of it, but it's a hotel room, so you're not treating it like you would your home.
All right. Well, what if you do that? You know what they do for you at hotels? They clean for you. What if you just had them come clean up before the guy comes? Boom! I win. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're going. We're doing it. We're going to Tokyo.
I see where you're going. I think it just seems weird, and it just seems weird that you would pay for the room and not get or if you got the 90-minute instruction afterwards, you couldn't use it. Then I could see it. Like, oh, okay, got the simulation. You got the expert there. Boom, taught me how to use it. Awesome, had a good time with it. Yeah, now I want to pretend like I'm flying from Tokyo back home for 18 hours for whatever reason. You feel then you can't use it.
You feel really confident that you'd be able to figure out this simulator without any directions, or actually hand-on directions. You think you could just read something and suddenly know how to use this?
All right, so I'm gonna put it this way. I don't think I could fly a real plane. I think I could fly a simulator, because I'm expecting to crash. But if you crash a real plane, you're dead. But with this, I think I'm having multiple opportunities. Maybe I'm way off on this. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking There's a lot of buttons, but there's only so like you got to go fast forward to get up in the air. So you're gonna need to get the flaps going. You're gonna have to get going real fast. There's got to be some other things involved with it, but all right. So the first time I give it too much gas and I never take off and I run into a fence. Okay, cool. Learn my lesson. All right, reset. And then you just trial by by error.
I think you're underestimating. I don't know. You sound like you could do it. I don't know. Maybe you're a lot more familiar with the industry, and that's just giving you some additional confidence here. Or maybe it is easier. I'd like to think it's not that easy of a thing. I like to think I couldn't just fly a plane after 3 hours of playing with the simulation.
An hour and a half.
No way.
Yeah, 90 minutes.
No way.
So what's the point? If you couldn't figure out in 90 minutes, that means that you're going to have the expert there to show you how to do it, and then you're not even going to figure out in that much time, and now you've just wasted $277.
The expert's going to show me how to do it, and then you're going to be able to learn from it.
Oh,
you're
you're saying,
not going to be able to figure it out and practice it in the same night, in the same day. You know, I feel like that's why I need the coach there. You know, it's one way to learn how to shoot a jump shot. You know, but once I know how to do it, I need time to practice with it. You want to learn it, invent it yourself, and then practice it. Like, that sounds like a hell of a lot more work.
It's going to crash a whole bunch. That's for sure. That's for sure going to happen. Like I said, I don't think that I could just hop in a plane and fly it. I don't want anyone to get that idea, but I think I could figure out a simulator just on
what if,
a bunch of crashes over and over again. And sooner or
what
later,
if you just ride the simulator with the pilot? Let him drive. Let him fly. And you just ride co-pilot.
That's what I just did to get to Tokyo.
It probably cost you just as much to get there.
In real life, yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap up the podcast from there. Thank you, as always, for listening. Make sure you tune in to the website. Check us out, lcalcb.com. We'll be back next week. Check out Zach at his Twitter, which is
WickedZman24.
And we'll be back next Wednesday at 3. Check out the website.
Little column A, little column B.